used to do these on a semi-regular basis? Yeah, me neither. Anyway, it's been a while, and I've been doing quite a bit of reading in the past 2 months, and seeing as we are already about a third of the way through April, I thought I'd go ahead and share the 16 books I read during February and March. Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine was fine. Even though I don't think you always have to have a likable protagonist, there has to be something you can connect with them on, and this just wasn't that book for me. Wires and Nerve Volume 2 is the second book in Marissa Meyer's Lunar Chronicles spin-off graphic novel series. I thought it was adorable. It's always great to reconnect with these characters. While I didn't think it was quite as strong as Volume 1, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was a nice visit back. How to Fall in Love by Cecilia Aaron is a bit of a complicated one for me. The premise sounded interesting. It takes place all in Dublin, which is a city that I adore. But there were times that I just found myself with the protagonist being like, you are not a mental health professional. You should really not be doing that. Something that I wish I had been able to borrow from the library rather than have to purchase, but it's not published here in the United States, so this will be donated to a reader who maybe hopefully will connect with it more than I did. Meet Cute was a really sweet short story collection about couples meeting, all sorts of couples. Each of the stories in this collection was written by a different young adult author, and it was just very sweet, timed it around Valentine's Day, it hit the mark. My Lady Jane was amazing. This book blew my mind. It's pretty big page count, and I blew through it in a couple of days, completely devoured it, adored it, cannot wait for the next book in this concept kind of series. Fantasy, historical, alternative history. I was amazed. A Mad Wicked Folly was also top-notch on my recent reads. This was really well researched, all about the suffragettes in Britain in the early 1900s. That time period and that particular struggle is something that's very interesting to me, and it's really nice when historical fiction authors do their homework to make sure it's as accurate as possible. Every Day by David Levithan was something that my student book club wanted to read with the movie recently coming out, and we were all in agreement that we really liked the concept, but we were very much having problems with the protagonist and the things that they were doing. I don't want to get too spoilery because it's such a cool concept of a book and a story, but yeah, It led to great discussion, so I will say it was a worthwhile read for that reason. Out of Left Field was about a girl who ends up replacing her best male friend on the boys' baseball team at school after he gets injured. I really love girls in sports stories. I love that underdog kind of situation, but there wasn't a ton to the plot or much of a subplot. It went the way I expected it to. So if you're looking for an easy breezy read, that'll do it. All Are Wrong Todays is a book I've been wanting to read for years, but it is always checked out by my students at our library. It is alternative reality. Imagine that we lived in a society like the Jetsons, and that was our present, but then a guy ends up using a time machine and he's not fully prepared to, and as a result, when he comes back to the future, he comes back to present day, but instead of it being all wonderful, it's the present we have now. I blew through this book, short chapters, thoughtful, the science doesn't overwhelm it. It's just a really great, thoughtful story. Just enough cork for me. I loved it. Also had a few nonfiction books on the reading docket lately. How the Body Knows Its Mind is a great thing, I think, for any educator to read about how when we are learning, it can't just be about the brain, how movement is such a big part of it. Killers of the Flower Moon was about the founding of the FBI. Dreams from My Father was Barack Obama's first memoir about growing up. And The Notorious RBG was all about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. What a life. She fascinates me. There were also a few audiobooks. To All the Boys I've Loved Before was a reread. Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda had my heart. And A Wrinkle in Time was a reread that I completely forgot how much I loved that story. So those are all the books I read in February and March. If you have any comments or want to know more, please tell me down in comments. All of my links are down below. Comments are always welcome, and that's it for me for now. Take care. Bye. I'm currently reading Summer Hours at the Robbers Library, and if you like what you've seen here today, please like and please subscribe for more.